Alright guys, it is time for my top 5 Transformers Universe figures. And that's a little bit of an awkward thing to say because there's two toy lines called Transformers Universe, and I've kind of mixed the two rosters I have together. We have two pretenders back here from Universe 1.0, everyone else here is from Universe 2.0. And you might ask, why doesn't Robin DeJohn have more Universe figures? It's because ultimately Universe is like that weird middle child between Classics and then Generations. Classics was a very small line, but all the major figures were new and unique. And then Generations was like, we're hitting the ground running, this is the main toy line of Transformers, and if you really want to stretch it, Generations has gone on for like over a decade now under many different guises. But then Universe was that weird, like, using some of the movie money and movie engineering style and just a very weird kind of feeling out period for Transformers. There were a lot of repaints in there from Cybertron and Classics and Energon, a handful of new molds, and the new guys were great. A lot of figures that I don't own that were incredible were like the Silverbolt, the Power Glide, the Onslaught, the Hot Shot, but even the guys I do have are really, really good. It's just, Universe just doesn't have much of an identity. Both of them ultimately were basically repaint lines. But we got some good repaints, some great original molds, and a whole lot of love from me, because a good number of the toys you see in front of you right now were childhood survivors of mine. So let's get into it, my top 5 favorite Transformers Universe figures. At number 5, it's Universe Dinobot. This was the first new mold of Dinobot since Beast Wars, and sure, the Masterpiece and the Kingdom figure have completely outmatched this guy, but there was a lot to like here still. The Raptor mode was really good, especially for like the mid-2000s, and this is a gimmick I still really like. So you have the accurate dino hands, right? But you could flip it around, and he has actual robot hands. So unlike, say, the Kingdom Dinobot or the Masterpiece Dinobot, you could give Dinobot guns and swords from other figures. That's a nice little idea. There's also the fact that you had a gimmick here. You can flip him around so you have, like, no symbol, just kind of like the leathery hide of the dinosaur, Maximal logo, and Predacon logo. That's nice. Again, that's in keeping with Dinobot. But then there's the color scheme. Yeah, the colors here are not Dinobot at all, especially that very purple face. The reason why they did the purple face? Universe had very few Decepticons or Predacons. So someone made the decision, while Dinobot started as a Predacon, he should have a more evil color scheme and be packaged as a Predacon. If you bought him off the shelves, the box listed him as a Predacon. Now, a lot of people hated that for the time. And when this was our only modern Dinobot, yeah, I didn't like it either. But now, I like it because it makes him even more unique compared to the Kingdom and the Masterpiece Dinobot. We have two figures doing perfect recreations of Dinobot. And then there's also that horrible toy-accurate repaint that Target did of Kingdom Dinobot. At least this Dinobot has, something. He has personality, he has spunk, he has a different transformation, a different scale. He's a cool figure overall, even if he's been outdone quite a few times now. At number 4, it's the Botcon Rapido, a remold of the Universe Prowl mold. And this guy has issues, right? Rapido, clunky. The Prowl mold from this time was clunky, but there is a lot of good here, especially for the time. He's an awesome looking figure, incredibly posable, the transformation's still really fun, and I love how they captured Rapido's head sculpt. That said, he has that weird neck platform that just makes him look a little bit kind of gangly. A lot of translucent plastic back here. These things crack a lot, the door wings do. And even though the gun is really nice, it would have been cool if maybe just there was a little bit more polish here. You can see a lot of the flaps kind of are either way too stiff or way too loose. It's not like this guy's going to fall apart on you, but there's definitely a lot of places where it can break. In all honesty, I'm just sad that this is our only Rapido still, like modern Rapido. I would love to see maybe the Earthrise Prowl mold become a Rapido. I mean, think about how many great car mode Transformers we've had as of late, and still no new version of Rapido. It makes me sad, but at least we have this original Botcon Rapido using a universe mold, so at the very least, we can have the Autobot who outranks everyone on our shelves. Because if you don't know, Rapido outranks Optimus Prime on Earth. Man, just check this guy out. This is Universe 1.0 Razorclaw, a sick repaint of Beast Wars Tigerhawk, and I think he's just one of the best looking Transformers ever. His posability isn't really up to modern standards, and the copy that I have is missing literally everything, but God is this guy pretty. I wish that Legacy United Tigerhawk we got had been repainted into Razorclaw, because this is such an insanely popular toy. Even getting him with absolutely nothing, he was still a pretty penny. And yet, this is still the only version of him. And it's immaculate. It's such a good looking figure. From top to bottom, head to toe, wingtip to wingtip. He is massive and beautiful. And I especially love this head sculpt. This head sculpt works so much better as a big evil villain. Can't you just see him like standing over Megatron's shoulder and just menacing everyone who walks into the room? A great looking bruiser of a toy, and one that I wish we saw more of. I mean, he was in the Universe comic, sure, but if there isn't a lot of love given to Tigerhawk, there's definitely not going to be a lot of love given to Razorclaw, which is just a heartbreaking thing, because out of everything to come out of Universe, I'd argue that this is the best toy, and possibly the best character. Going back to Universe 2.0 now, this is Hound. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Hounds out there nowadays. You got Siege Hound, you got the new Legacy Hound, that Autobot 5-pack, but for me, this is the best Hound still. So cool, so smooth, so chewy. He has so much personality and character. He looks like a friend. More so than any other Transformer I can think of, he looks like a friend. Even better, he came packaged with Ravage, and I'd argue that's still the best Generation-style Ravage ever. I don't have mine anymore. This is my childhood Hound. Childhood Hound has been with me for a very long time. He has survived a whole lot of ordeals, but he was a birthday gift and one that I still treasure to this very day. There's a lot of Autobots that I've replaced over the years on my shelf. I've gotten in new Optimus Primes, I've gotten in new, Bumblebees, Cliff Jumpers, Blurs, but the only character that I honestly don't feel like I ever need new figures of is Hound. Don't get me wrong, I have the Siege Hound, he's fun, but if I had to, I would sell him in a heartbeat. This Hound, though, he's just the perfect take on the character. Absolutely spectacular. At number 1, it had to be Cyclonus. Keep in mind, when I was growing up for a long time, I didn't have a Megatron, so Cyclonus was the leader of my childhood Decepticon team. This is my childhood Decepticon Cyclonus. This was a gift from my grandparents, and he's still just the best. He's still just the absolute best. Articulation isn't great, admittedly, and also mine has a very weak shoulder. Old soldier's been through a lot, he has some war wounds. But he still has Nightstick. Come on, Nightstick. Oh, sorry, Cyclonus. Stand on up for me. Nightstick is still a very unique target master. There's none that are really like him. And even better, if you're a big fan of the Headmaster's anime, not only can he hold it like a gun, you can also flip the fist back, and the hand can be replaced by Nightstick, which is just a great touch. And it's something that the Kingdom guy can't do. He has a lot of good articulation, even if it's not as good as what we'd see nowadays. The spaceship mode is awesome. He has a wonderful leg transformation to get to that spaceship mode, and he's just perfect. Out of all of my childhood Decepticons, Cyclonus is probably my favorite. I adore this figure, and even if I didn't grow up with it, I think I'd still like it. But having grown up with it, being able to have this guy in my collection, it does just make him so much more special. Just an awesome, awesome, awesome toy. And one that I still love because, I have so many memories of having this guy on some of my playground visits or around the swimming pool. And, of course, it's a gift from my grandparents, so there's that bit to it. It's awesome to have some of these childhood guys still, because a lot of my childhood toys didn't make it. But I'm really happy Cyclonus has stuck with me all these years. Especially because he can still lead all the bad guys on my childhood shelf. Getting Cyclonus and Hound back in here, all I can really say is these two have been through the ringer. Like a lot of the childhood survivors, they've been through some pretty rough periods with me, and that just makes them all the more special. Are there better versions of Hound and Cyclonus out there? Yeah, sure. A ton. But these two are always going to be what I think of when I think of Hound and Cyclonus. The same way I think of Classics Optimus, the same way I think of movie Cliffjumper, the same way I think of animated Blur or animated Oil Slick when I think, hey, what is childhood? Hey, what is Transformers? Hey, what are these characters? It's these two. I love them a lot. We've been through some rough storms together, and just to have them both still in my life, it means a great deal. I don't know how well I would have taken it had I lost these two. Because I lost a lot of figures. I lost Cliffjumper. I lost, Knockout and Landmine and Cup. But these guys stuck it through. They are survivors. And I'm happy that they're just still popping around on the shelf, I guess. Love these two.